everybody. I'm choosing to stand up for this one tonight because I feel like it's going to need a lot of energy. So, we are here to discuss that Thursday night, but more so what we need to do to change the fortunes and who's to blame, all sorts to bring to you tonight. Before I start with my full intro and my thoughts, I just want to welcome everybody on tonight, and we have a new member with us tonight as well. So first off, we've got Block 9 Carl, because we have two Carls tonight. Evening, Carl. We've also got Andy. How are we doing, Andy?
I'm okay, my friend. Yeah, very well, thank you.
Yeah, and Gavin, who didn't have his cap on and now has his cap on while we were sat in the lobby. And also joining us tonight is Carl Willis. Evening, Carl. How are you doing?
Evening. You all right?
Yeah, good. We'll come to you in a second. So, yeah, I'm gonna do something that we don't normally do. If my mouse will play up, because there we go. Let's put some. Restream has just told me we got some Halloween music, so I think it's appropriate after that horror show to play some of this in the background. Right. So let's kickstart proceedings. So, if you can't get up for a derby, then that's a big worry for me. Yeah, that was a really, really sad state of affairs on Thursday night. But who's to blame? You know, is it the head coach? Is it Tom Cleverley? Is it the players themselves? You know, they have a duty too. Is it the recruitment? Is it the board? Things and thoughts and views that a lot of people have been giving over the past couple of days since that result. But maybe the spotlight should be on everybody who plays a part in organising this football team. But tonight's show is going to be full of frustration, anger, disappointment, and more so, you know, that feeling of being let down, folks. Yeah. Who's had enough already? Well, for me, there's something that I think we all need to remember. It's a season of transition. And, you know, when I thought about putting this out there, you know, tonight, for me, I was like, I wanted us to come into the season and let's get going for it. Yeah, there's been lots of changes, but come on, we're Argyle. We can get back into the rhythm and get back up there again. But the reality really is that was going to be a challenge, wasn't it? So we are in that transition, but at the end of the day, I think the fact that matters is that it's going to be a challenge this season, and it's going to be about surviving. It's going to be about rebuilding and reorganising things around the club. And yes, I know some of you are going to shake your heads, but sticking to that plan. So sticking with them cleverly, because I think for the minute, it's just too much disruption to try and decide to let Tom go and bring in a new manager, and then try and find and hope to get that manager that will bring something different to the club. So hear me out. I'm sticking with Tom for the moment. Also, obviously, trusting the changes that Paul Byrne is going to bring. The biggest thing for me was that, in my opinion, Andrew Parkinson should have gone in the opposite. Didn't, and I think he also has a lot to add. Thursday night was a horror show, and it's not even Halloween yet. And what idiot decided to do their first live watch-along on the pod and choose that game? Well, yeah, that was me. And a few of you that came to join that dismal performance as well. So it's a big wake-up call. I demand to see a significant change on Tuesday night to sort of make me think that my thoughts are worth sticking to. We've got our game in hand. That's what it is against Mansfield. That can lift us back out because we are now third from bottom. But at the end of the day, that result on Thursday has to be a big wake-up call. Regardless of what Cleverley and Edward said post-match, it's all about how they change things in the game on Tuesday. I won't accept anything less. If we lose, we might, as long as we are performing better and we create chances and we give it a go. That's all we can ask for. Right, that's my rant over, if you want to call it a rant. I'm going to go to the guys now to give you all, and welcome to you all who are joining us tonight, their views on how they see the situation at the moment. So, Carl, I'm going to start with you, mate. So far away.
Can we just start by cutting the music?
Jesus Christ, right. Thank God that's over with.
How many beers have you had?
Was it too loud? Was it?
It was just too long.
What, my rant or the music?
Both.
It's more like a flipping medieval Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
You're not the Messiah. You're a very
naughty boy.
Very naughty boy.
There we go. Go on, Carl, then. Tell us where your head is at the minute, mate.
Well, I've had a few days now to calm down, to think about things. I'm still angry. I'm still pissed off. I'm glad there wasn't a game today, just to chill out, get away from football. Well, say get away from football. I started watching my son play this morning, but it was just nice to have a bit of downtime and not worry about losing on a Saturday. Instead, we lost on the Thursday instead. But yeah, there's a lot of negativity about. I can understand why. I don't think at the start of the season we would have thought we would have been in this position, especially how it's gone. It seems to be very copycat from the start of the season with Rooney. Lots of injuries hasn't helped our situation, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. I don't think I'm in the out cleverly camp just yet. I don't think it's going to do us any favors if we sack him now. I think he deserves a little bit longer. Whether we go to January with that, I don't know, because we were guilty of keeping Rooney too long. And he sacked him just before the transfer window, which did help. If we did it a few weeks earlier, I'm sure Mudryk would have kept us up. That wasn't the case. And we're crying out for stability. That's what we really need at this club. We can't keep sacking managers left, right and centre. And I do believe at the time we appointed Cleverley, he was probably the best option out there that we could have got. And the one that kind of got everyone's tongues wagging because he did okay at Watford. He was still under that kind of illusion of we were going through another young up-and-coming coach, which we all thought he was. He still can be. And yeah, it hasn't kind of panned out like that, in my opinion. He doesn't seem to know what his best team is, what his best formation is. We got promised again, good attacking football. We haven't really had many games that I can really remember that we've done that. Maybe Burton away and Stockport at home being the only two games that were actually entertaining to watch. And some of the players that we've signed haven't come to fruition. I think Wiredu at the back still struggling for me. So many mistakes at the back, hence why all these goals conceded. And obviously Hazard coming back now, who's still personally not ready, I don't think, which I never thought I would say. I was under the impression that I wanted Hazard straight back in after his injury, and he's been quite poor since he's come back. I think it's quite harsh on Ashby Hammond, who actually looked quite decent before Hazard did come back into the team game by game. Luca was getting quite good, especially his distribution, his shot stopping was improving. So I think he's harsh to miss out on the last few games. Do we change the goalkeeper again? Potentially, because we're shipping a lot of goals. But yeah, I think next Tuesday is going to be extremely important. One, being a game in hand, and two, we need to see some fight and some performance from the boys, because Thursday was not good enough. Far from it.
No, fair point, Carl. Lots to discuss. Andy, give us your thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, back to strangers again, aren't we? The back four, especially. I mean, Wiredu and Mitchell, again, an all mixed defense for their first goal. But it's yeah, I'm a bit frustrated at the fact that we just can't seem to have the continuity that we had in the few games prior to this. The Stockport games and the Luton game and the Burton game, where we were winning games comfortably. And it's worrying, really, because we need, as Carl said, we need that continuity, and we just haven't had that continuity for one reason or another. Ibrahim's, suspension didn't help. Now we've got another suspension to go to that, I think. Someone got booked on Saturday. Who's it got booked on Saturday? Another suspension. Sorinola, thank you. Thanks, Gav. Yeah, so Sorinola's going to be out now for a couple of games. So that's going to disrupt again, isn't it? We just need that stability, that continuity, and hopefully, if we get that, then things will start rocking for us again. But at the moment, it's poor, really poor.
So, Andy, are you sticking with the Cleverley still as it is at the moment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't sort of blame Cleverley for injuries and suspensions. It's down to his players in the end, and they've got to start playing as a team again, because they did that for 3 or 4 games. Won quite a few games on the spin, and all of a sudden we're back to where are we? Who are we? And who's on my team?
Yeah. Well, we've got an Exeter fan in the chat, so we welcome everybody. Arsenic Rock. Your sad faces, heaven is red and white, just like your lighthouse. Plymouth get battered everywhere they go. Of course we do. You can take the glory for now. Can't deny you of it. You did well, came with your game plan, and it worked. Gavin, give us your thoughts as well, please.
Okay, so I'll take 2 things in isolation. So Thursday was pretty woeful. watched it at the pub with my brother. I don't think I've sunk as many beers in 90 minutes as I've done in that 90 minutes, I have to say. The walk home was interesting. A bit military, left, right, and that was just crossing the road. It was pretty toothless. Everything that we've done well tactically this season, we didn't do. We didn't pass through the thirds. I have to just get a little bit of ref watching early here and say another absolutely appalling decision early doors. What could have been if we'd went 1-0 up in 3 minutes, but we didn't. And if my auntie had some danglies, she'd be my uncle. So you can make of that what you will. But we played sort of umbrella football, back, forth, lump it long to Talai or Pebble, got battered, ball lost, second balls we didn't pick up. Midfield was pretty non-existent. We were crying out for someone to put their foot on the ball and pass it. Alan McCabe, and we didn't have him on the squad. Boateng looked a bit lost. Ibrahim was probably at his worst game for the club. So the midfield was like a bit of tracing paper, really. Nothing there at all. Back three was interesting. Clearly, Mitchell's got problems at home, and that's sort of followed him onto the pitch because he probably had his worst game in an Argyle shirt so far. And I think Ross's introduction gave us something who can put a foot on the ball and make a pass forward. That was probably what we were craving most. Unfortunately, our skipper, his legs have gone. He looked about 2 yards off, maybe 3 yards off the pace. And Saranola didn't have a great game either. His set piece was pretty awful. Bar a couple, actually, the goal that we scored, I thought it was a good pass. Talai probably had 3 touches all night, I think, which kind of shows how bad our midfield was. We didn't go down, we didn't go down the channels at all. We didn't whip balls into the reds. Everything we did at Burton, everything we did at Stockport, everything we've done well, we just didn't do. And if you're having a bad day at the races, to quote a certain Roy Keane, it's a derby, right? Kick someone, start an argument. We didn't even do that. There was not even I'm frustrated, I'm going to go in studs up and get the crowd going, and or a typical Joe Edwards hard tackle, get out, bit of a fist pump, let's go. It was just flat as a pancake all the way through, and so we deserved to lose, quite frankly. And Exeter were outfought us, outplayed us, and we were out tacticked, if that's the right word. So whoever it is in the chat, well done, you guys. Stuck it to us, and we have to now swallow that pill and move forward. So going after the game and post, I was pretty annoyed and pretty pissed when I walked down. Woke up in the morning feeling sore head and not particularly great, and then watched early doors our skipper's post-match first. I don't think I've ever seen him that angry in any post-match interview ever, even when we've got absolutely walloped in the Championship, 5-6-0. I don't think he's ever been that angry. Then watch TC. I thought a lot of it, what he said, was pretty good. The one thing I can't really bite onto is, do you think we lost out physically? I'll have to look at the physical data. Well, if you've got 2 eyes in your head, a heartbeat and an arsehole, you can find out that we were absolutely outfought for the whole game. So whether he's protecting his players there a bit or not, but he started off the press conference by saying, you can't sugarcoat that one or dress that one up. It was horrific. Well, then he should have said, we didn't have any fight. We didn't have any midfield. No one put a foot in, etc., etc. So after the game, that was upsetting. I then did what I always do, which is lump on now to any stock that's going to involve bedwetting. This time I've gone Hypnos. The share price has gone through the roof. So there's been some piss beds right through in Plymouth and surrounding areas over the last two and a bit days. I don't buy into this. He's got one more game and has to go. We're just crying out for a bit of stability. And I won't name them, but there's a number of people that I follow on Twitter that I know personally who are in other pods who have gone absolutely off the deep end here. And I think they should know better. You can't keep putting another patch on the patchwork quilt. And we said this before we came on air. We've got such a mismatch of a squad. Any management team just needs 2 or 3 windows to try and iron it out, because it is horrific. We've got a bit of Miron, we've got a bit of Rooney, we've got a bit of Foster still. We've got a bit of Shuey still. We've got some Tom Randall. Then we've got some Tom Clever. It's just a mess. And looks like Randall has bitten the bullet on that. The transfer window wasn't great. I think I gave it a 6 and said I'd give it a 6 once I'd seen everybody play. I think that was around us playing well, and you kind of inflate it to 6.5, 7. But actually, on consistent basis, if you take it over a 10, 12 game period, it's probably a 5 at best. Talai saves it probably pretty dramatically. Ibrahim at stages, Ross probably at stages as well, and McCabe I think will grow into the squad. But yeah, I'm firmly in a we need whatever happens. I don't think we'll go down. If we finish mid-table, I think we just have to just take our medicine and just say it is what it is. We go again, but we'll have a January window, we'll have a summer window under TC. We might pick up form after Christmas once we get all our squad back. We've got 4 probably of our best players currently having their brows mopped at Nuffield again. So yeah, I'm not in any way, shape, or form in a position where we're going to sack our manager this year, unless we go on a 10-12 game run or a rock bottom, in which case you've got to pull the parachute cord. But I don't think we'll be there. I said to my brother this afternoon, I've been out with the family all day. I think there's going to be a players meeting from Joe this week without the management team. I think he's going to fire some what's into them. I've just seen your daughter's head. I was going to use a word rhymes with ruck, but I won't. I think he will then hand back to TC, and there'll be some guys that are going to be properly motivated for Tuesday night. And I expect us to go there and be our best self and beat Mansfield. That's where my head is. I might be totally wrong. I know there's going to be a hammering now of Jonesy doing his happy clapping impression. Maybe so, but irrespective, I think we're going to win enough games to stay mid-table. We're not going to get anywhere near the top 6. So be it. We need to just sort ourselves out, because the club at the moment, as we've rightly said, on many stages, a basket case. New CEO, 2nd or 3rd, I think, head of recruitment this will be in the season. New coaching staff, 17 new players. New head of commercial, new head of finance. It's just like the Mary Celeste. So everybody's trying to find their way into the new roles. And we just don't need any more drama. But I think the problem is a lot of people who are on X, certainly in particular, are drama llamas, and they love this. They love the fact that they can stir shit up and get the let's get the Cleverly Out Brigade going, and how many more games. I think they just crave it. Maybe their own lives are dull. I don't know. I'm fed up with seeing matches being piss wet through. I just want to see some stability, and a few boring weeks of winning a game, drawing a game, losing a game would just be nice.
Yeah, no, cool. Well summarised with your thoughts there, Gavin. And I think, this is, I've got no slide. I've got no stats and all that lot to put up on the game because I just don't see the point. We still got, if you're still watching as well, Arsenic Rock, a few comments going back and forth. Before I go to before I go to Carl, new Carl, who's joined us tonight, I just want to go through some of those comments because there's a few that have come in. So Stephen Cooper, evening to you, Steve. Hope you're well. Big Fudge, I miss Miron. There's elements of that I can understand. Graham Byrne, transitioning to League 2 is his thoughts. Paul Bailey, good evening all, after a good result for you boys earlier on today, which I'll get Carl to read out later. I have got the image, Carl. I haven't loaded it ready, but I will at the end. Andy B, I'm going to be hearing that all night. It was possibly the horror music with my intro. So sorry,
I don't think it was the best track to pick, to be honest.
I didn't. It's just a Halloween option, and it's AI generated, which the ones we were listening to, before were better. What's wrong with Michael Jackson? It was definitely not a Thriller on Thursday.
That was definitely bad, wasn't it?
Oh God, here we go. Anyway, let's move on from those dodgy puns. Dean, good evening, gents. Nice to see you, Andy, Carl, Crazy Pilgrim, and obviously we have a new guest tonight, Carl. Marcus is in as well. Good analysis from Carl. Stevie Vaughan, get Waidu out of the team. He ain't a defender. Well, he's not done too bad considering in that position. So that's when we then had the Exeter fan join us, Arsenic Rock. Dean, been saying it was Exeter City's cup final. Be funny if you end up losing next week, to be honest, for me, that doesn't really matter. It's about what we do. Paul Wilcox, people saying Tuesday is important, but for me, Thursday was just as important. And everyone knew that except the players and managers. That's the biggest thing. When I was live, it was just like I couldn't get angry. I was just so disappointed and just like, what on earth? We just haven't turned up to try and have a go. Yes, we got that first ball in the back of the net. It was a flick on by the Exeter defender, but it was ruled offside. But yeah, after that, then it all went downhill. A few more comments. There is a lot, so bear with me. Graham Byrne saying could be worse. Got deep impact on the telly. What channel are you watching? But yeah, no, of course, very familiar with that film. Sorry for the bad joke. Sarah Mason Palmer, good to see you back in. Players didn't turn up. Simple as that. We lack passion and fight in the times we need it most. Marcus saying Tom Randall, who does he even exist? I think that is interesting that he has gone, and recruitment has probably played a big part of some of the issues recently that we're seeing. And Stephen Cooper saying Arsenic Rock, enjoy, we will batter you when you come here. What's hat trick? Oh, Steve, please don't try and do that already, because that could blow. We'll pick that comment out, Steve, when we play them at home park. And Marcus with a couple of final thoughts there as well. So Chris, good evening to you. Welcome,
Carl.
I don't know why I've got Chris
You
in
and
my
bloody
head.
Chris
Sorry,
Dawson, for Christ's sake.
You think it's Chris Harrington again, aren't you?
You got-
It's not Chris
yeah,
Harrington.
you got
It's
one
a
job.
naughty boy.
Carl, I
One
try
job.
and forget about Chris Dawson most days. See him
All
enough. But yeah, Carl, apologies. New guest, Carl, as we got to tonight. So yeah, look, we asked about people who wanted to come on the show and give their thoughts, and Carl DM'd us and got in touch and said, you know, can I come on? You know, I'd like to share my views. And look, you could completely disagree with us three so far on not changing things, Carl, but the floor is yours. So give us your thoughts on where you stand at the moment.
Well, to be fair, on all the points, I can't disagree with majority of them. I will say this. Will anyone blame Hallett?
It's a yeah.
He's accountable. I wouldn't say
Yeah,
he's responsible,
So
but he's
not for
accountable.
all of it, for a part of it, because it's ever since Schumacher left, it has just kept going down and down and down. There's not been one big spike up. It's been down and down and down. And he made us think there was investment coming in, which obviously there wasn't properly. And this is another thing about transfers. Where's all the money going? Oh yeah, Brickfields. And I know people are going to have a flap about it, but well, we want to be a top championship team, a team that stays in the championship. Sorry. And we're spending money on our academy instead. We got to prioritize what's best. But on Thursday night, I turned it off 90th minute. I just had
Well, at
enough.
least you stuck out for most of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I nearly didn't go to work on Friday because two people I work with are Exeter fans.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that was painful.
that was torture. I didn't see any creativity whatsoever. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I saw nothing.
No,
I
there
saw
wasn't
no
any.
flight. I saw no want the ball. Every second ball, no, don't want to know. Hazard, what's he doing for the first goal? What was the idea of him coming out? I know he was under pressure from where their number 9, I think it was, but I think if you have Ashby Hammond there, I think that doesn't go in.
He's better with his feet. But it does take a deflection, though, doesn't it, Carl? Yeah,
No, that's a valid point.
But it's not as if he had wound up to kick it, deflected, went past him, or just come off the top of his thigh. It's come off the top of his or the bottom of his shin. So, you know, put it in Rose Ed. Put it into.
Oh yeah. Just get it
Not
out.
flap it out for the guy to pass it in the back of the net. I agree.
We'll come on
kick
to
out into his
more on
chest, isn't
individual performances in a minute. But yeah, go on, Carl, Karen.
Yeah, individual performances. But I saw the interviews after, and I just noticed a trend with TC. He's saying quite a lot, repeating a lot. I'm thinking, yeah, but you got a week on the training ground. What are you doing?
We had a good 2 weeks, didn't they, with the international break in reality.
Exactly. And apparently he had them in training. I was like, well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Looking around? What? I just don't see an improvement. Every time I'm watching them, there's just nothing. It's just flat. I can't remember the last time I watched an Argyle side just give that attacking flair we used to have with Schumacher. I can't remember the last time we had that.
Yeah, but are you, Carl, staying with keeping it as it is just about for the minute, or are you actually saying no? I'd like to see a change in the coach now.
As we discussed earlier, I don't see the point in changing it right now. I mean, if we go on like one of you said, I can't remember the name. Sorry, if we go on a 10-game winless streak and bottom of the table, yeah, you got to pull the plug. But I don't think that will happen. Well, I hope. I can't. I'll be very surprised if that happens. But then again, I've seen our games coming up. Where do we see the next 3 points?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll bring
Tuesday,
them up.
hopefully.
I'll bring them up. Yeah, I'll bring them up in Tuesday, hopefully. Yeah, but I'll bring up the fixtures later because obviously we've got 4 more away games depending on what happens with the Bradford one. Obviously, could make it 5. So look, yeah, I think Carl. Do you know what? There's a lot of conscious on our show that sometimes people accuse us of being happy clappy and not challenging enough, and it's not so much that everybody has their opinion, which is why we like to have the comments on screen so people can debate, and I'll read out a few more that come in a second. But it's if I want to keep more focus on where we go ahead, but on your point on Simon Hallett, we've discussed at length the whole running of the club, and obviously Simon isn't involved day to day. He's a chairman, he owns a club, but he leaves it to a board that runs. Gavin and myself, we've done slide decks and talks with everybody on that. And I think this is where, for me, my point at the start of my intro is where I think Parkinson probably should have gone at the end of the season. I just felt that the way things have gone the past 2 seasons with all the changes, and no one wants disruption in their club, certainly not a club that don't have free-flowing funds that can just go and easily get a high-profile manager and get rid. We're lucky with Rooney. He decided to leave his wages behind. That would have been another expense going out every month. So I want us to have that stability. So I'm pleased. All respect. We did a piece on that to Andrew Parkinson with what he did in his tenure. But I'm excited for what Paul will bring. And so Paul will run the club day to day, Carl. Yeah. So that's what he will do. He might have day-to-day calls with Simon at times, but his job will be you get on and look after the club and just get it turned around, do what you need to do. I think the whole thing with Tom Randall was interesting. After the window, Tom cleverly said we're going to go straight into it. I think that was an indication that he just really wasn't happy with the net result of that transfer window, and it's put him on the back foot a bit. But yeah, I think for Hallett it's difficult, and those that tell him to go, call him out, and all this sort of stuff. I always leave it on this point. If it was your money, then it's not as easy as it is, and everybody sees it as it is. And look at Wednesday as well. Yeah, you don't necessarily don't want these owners. Yes, you can get good ones, and they can bring you success. Of course, there is a mix of it, but. Yeah, in terms of going forward now, I think it's very much a case. I haven't seen Edwards' interview, Gavin, so thanks for that insight. I haven't had a chance to stop because I'm decorating as well today. But it's like I want him to be angry. I want Nance going apoplectic in that dressing room. I want Cleverley to also understand that his persistence with tactics and the same tactics. We're doing nothing. I mean, we get 60-odd% possession because, it's Mitchell, Galloway, Waidu, Mitchell, Galloway, Waidu. That's all it was on Thursday night. To lie up front with the kicks out, whether it's from Mitchell, whether it's from Hazard, going straight over his head. This is a guy that can find the back of the net. Give him the ball and he can turn and he will shoot. He knows where the target is. He had 2 efforts, I think, which weren't easy for him. So
the problem with Talai on Thursday was because the midfield was absolutely non-existent. He was coming in far too deep to try and get the ball, and then left Ben Peppel isolated up front, who probably was our best player, to be honest. I know he didn't do a lot, but he still gave effort. He still tried to hold the ball up, and we had no option for Ben Peppel to pass to.
And there was no midfielders running beyond the striker.
Exactly, there was just nothing, absolutely nothing.
Well, for the first time, I think you noted it, Gavin. But for the first time ever, I mean, I was on the live. I mean, there was a good 600 odd watching, which is mad. And I was hoping it was going to be a good, entertaining game to talk about while watching, but it wasn't clearly. But it was like I was going, Boateng, bloody move, get into a position. Like Mitchell's trying to pass the ball, and he had space to his right, and he was just like, yeah, I'm here. And he's been our best bloody player all season. and it's just like how did he suddenly have a brain fart?
But he breaks up the play. So McCabe has been our quarterback, and he's been on his give me the ball, I'll move it forward. He wasn't even in the squad, and I think Ibrahim's been better in the sort of front three of that midfield in that sort of 10, 8.5 position or whatever it's been. But he's not a great passer of the ball. So and you have normally you have Ross and McCabe who are both gifted at putting the foot on it, looking up and finding a pass. Neither of those players were in the first half. Ross came in the second half. It got marginally better for a little bit. But the problem is, if you've got your foot on the ball centre half in the middle, unless someone drops into a pocket and says, give me the ball, what you got to do? You're going to lump it, or you're going to pass it to your mate to the left, or pass it to your mate to the right. So I think it was a bit Bambi in the headlights. The guys just didn't want the ball. None of them. McKay, Ibrahim or Boateng just didn't fancy it. They didn't want the ball, which is like madness. Because, as you say, Boateng's been a warrior. He's broke up play. He's done really simple passes, which is pretty much what Houghton used to do in very, very, very well. But he's athletic with it, and he's got a bit more about him. But he was just he might as well have stayed in the car park, to be honest. Rather than
I'd give my left testicle for Houghton at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the sad thing about it is that we're so used to playing it on the floor and passing it on the floor, but we just seem to be resorted to tippy-tappy around the back and then hitting it long.
It's that whole experience thing, isn't it? We were craving out for that experienced centre midfielder, and we got McCabe.
Randall was there the other night as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, Randall was there.
I wonder what he was thinking.
Right, well, if you watch any at the minute, Randall's running that side. Just really simple, but he's done what Houghton's done, and he's obviously been taught by Houghton over the years. But Randall's getting 6.8 to 7.5 on FOTMOB every single game at the moment for Bristol, and he's the glue that holds up midfield together. So for those who are saying, he only gets in because he's got a PL birth code, nonsense. He's a good player, but I think the
question is,
the squad. Was there a presser that was afterwards? Has anyone asked TC why McCabe was left out of the squad entirely? Is he injured?
And Tegan Finn. Yeah. Why wasn't he in the squad?
I heard.
Tegan Finn would have been better there.
It was because they thought he would get bullied in the midfield.
Who, Finn?
No, McCabe.
Oh, sorry.
McCabe, that's why
I agree with that. I don't think McCabe's good enough at the moment, and he would have got bullied.
That's the sort of game though. You want Tegan Finn in there,
Yeah.
Right, in the centre of midfield.
Drawing the foul, drawing the tackle.
Yeah, on the wide area
midfield.
Or in a 10, but you can't play Tegan Finn in the centre of midfield.
No, I think so. I'll come back on Finn, but Carl, I want to come back on McCabe. I think we discussed this on the post-Wimbledon show, but McCabe doesn't get a sniff in the England under-21s without having some quality there. And there's a lot of talk about him, a positive talk about him. He just hasn't been able to play in the games that he started for us, as Gavin just said, and we've just discussed. He plays too deep, and I want to understand. I've not done any research on him, so apologies, but I want to understand then where is his position that has proven to for him to be so highly valued as a player, and so that's one question. On Tegan Finn, he wasn't injured; he was just left out, but. For me, he's a local lad. He's got no fear. He's got the skill and ability, and he would have been one on there. Yes, he would have been one of the youngsters, and we talked about having experience on there. But he's someone that I think would have done something. And
he's got the ability, right? He at Burton 2 nutmegs within a minute, and he's bypassed those players.
Just to say, the second goal scorer for Exeter, it was his first senior goal. He's about 8 months old. He's still got his mum's milk on his top lip.
And he took it well. I thought he was going to fluff it based on his previous chances, but he took it well.
But so if he's old enough, he's good enough.
First goal was sloppy,
we play our young players. I think he's had a brain fart. I think he was expecting us to have this like big clanging and banging, big bud and thud, like stormy derby where it was tackles flying in everywhere. And as it said in their post-match press conference, in their team huddle at the end of the change room, we didn't lay a glove on them.
And that, I tell you what, and that's what really frustrated me. I was waiting for Edwards to go in. He had a hard tackle pit on him. Was it Andrews? And I was wanting him to get in there and then get that hard tackling, because normally when Edwards pits that hard tackling, it gets the team going, and generally, obviously at home, it does get the crowd going. But there was nothing in it. So right, I want to just start from the back line. I haven't pulled up the lineup. I've got it in the background though, so I can remind myself. But we had Hazard in goal, 3 at the back with Wyadu, Mitchell, Galloway. And then we had Edwards and Sorinola playing wing backs, Ibrahim and Boateng in midfield. Patterson started as well. He was the one with the highest FOTMOB rating of 7, and Peppel and Talai up front. So I want to come back to Hazard, because on the live, I was really irritated by him in that game. You're looking for the experienced players to deal with the situation and take control. We've cleverly said it in loads of post matches. It's about someone taking the game by the scruff of the neck, and no one did that. But on his kicks out, he was just hitting it way over to lie. It wasn't going anywhere. And I said, I want him, all respect to you, Hazard, but I want Hammond back in goal, because for me, his distribution, if that's what we're going to do, is far better than Hazard's. And I think, Carl, yes, it is a bit of getting back into the rhythm of the game, but for me, it was a bad show from everybody. Do I blame the goal on him? No, there was obviously a couple of players that were charging forward with the striker, and it happenstance. Could he have done better, like Gavin said? Possibly, yeah. But just the fact that it falls to an Exeter player, and he obviously takes a chance with the open goal. Carl, number 2. I'll come to you.
Like
but Hazard, are you sort of sticking with Hazard, or are you thinking change it up? What's your view on the goalkeeper?
Well, he's clearly not like he was last year. Still, for some reason, he's not match fit. I don't know.
So would you drop him, or
I'd play him Tuesday, and if he's still, then I'd make. I know I'll say yeah, but then you missed a chance to keep a clean sheet. But end of the day, he plays internationally. You can't leave it out unless you're absolutely certain he's not up to scratch.
Yeah,
and I know people will disagree. Everyone was slagging off Ashby Hammond at the start, yeah, for good reason. But I did say he has improved. Before Conor Hazard came back in, I did notice an improvement.
Yeah, it was a huge shift change. And actually with Mitchell coming in, Ross coming in, it felt like the defence then was starting to really settle and shore up. Carl, you were obviously a big vocal on Hazard starting as soon as he became available, which obviously did happen, and I respect and understand the points there. But would you be sticking with him on Tuesday or changing it up?
Like Carl number 2 said, I'll probably give him another game on Tuesday. I think that might be a wise decision, just to get a bit more fitness, a bit more minutes in his legs. But he hasn't been great since he's come back. Obviously, he's been off for some time, so it's always going to take a few games to get back into it. But he's not showing any signs of like he was last season. And I think it's extremely harsh now looking back on dropping Luca, who was actually very, very good before he was dropped. And like you say, with the introduction of Ross and Mitchell, they were starting to understand each other, and we actually weren't too bad defensively. His distribution is better than Hazard's, 100%. His shot stopping was getting better. He was making less mistakes. He seemed more confident. And then we went back to Hazard, which was fine. I was calling for that because he is the better goalkeeper, but he has struggled since he's come back in. But then Mitchell has struggled the last couple of games for reasons that we don't know. Obviously, there's a bereavement there, which is obviously playing with his head. Maybe he shouldn't have played on Thursday. I think
2 games back to back, isn't it? Where he's been poor.
He's been poor on the left side as well. I think Cleverly should have been wiser in a game like that. If he wasn't mentally 100%, take him out. Maybe he should have started with Such or Ross. And yeah, I think it's definitely a debate worth having after Tuesday. I think if we're poor again or Hazard's made a couple of mistakes, then I think it is time to admit we were wrong in bringing Hazard back and sticking with Luca, because I think he's shown enough so far over Hazard to warrant the shirt. Yeah,
no, Graham Burns just saying funny, really. We were crying out for Hazard to come back. I wasn't, and a couple of us wasn't. But it's great to have that problem. That's how we looked at that at the time. That you've got this international goalkeeper that we know has been a great servant for Argyle. And I think with Hazard it is coming back into the games a bit more. I'm going to move forward with the sort of defensive lineup. Andy, I'll come to you on this one as well. Galloway, Mitchell, and obviously Wyadu in there. Sook's obviously not featuring. He obviously has been out with injury. Gavin made a valid point in his selection or his predicted selection for that game that it's a narrow pitch and obviously where we tend to go with this long throw, Sook's is better for that. But yeah, I think Mitchell, as we've just alluded to, there's clearly something happening there that maybe hasn't cleared up yet and is affecting his mindset. Galloway, though, is one that's experienced, so he's obviously decided to start with him for that experience, and that didn't amount to much, did it, Andy?
Well, that was it. He went for experience. He should have put Rosser there instead of Galloway, in my opinion. I don't know why, but I don't think Galloway had a very good game. I think Mitchell's head's gone because of the bereavement. We look like strangers again. It's why don't we start with like Zooks? Why don't we just give him that chance, that opportunity to get back in there? It's a big important game. He's going to be fresh coming back into the team. Mitchell, I don't think he should have started really. As Carl said, he really shouldn't have started.
Yeah.
Because of this bereavement, and as everyone said, it's playing with his head a bit, isn't it? So
I think we can all agree about Wiredu, though. I don't think he's really doing any favours at the moment, is he? He's making too many mistakes. He's not showing he's a centre back either.
The mix-up for the first goal was between Wiredu and Mitchell. They both went for the same ball, and it fell off Wiredu, I think, back towards Hazard, who then chinned it towards the Exeter player, and who put it straight back on the net.
I think so. On Wiredu, and then Gavin, I'll come to you on this one. The last two games have been difficult because we haven't had that play, and for me, Wiredu, he's been really good at being able to adapt and come in that defence. He has got the ability to play in different roles. I think the issue with that goal on Thursday night was indicative of a lot of the attacks that what did I say, Ipswich? And I was talking to my dad about it. That's his team. Were relevant to what Exeter did that night, and that was breaching the defensive line. And so then we're under pressure, whether it's a ball over the top or ball played through the park. We were caught out, and two of them are trying to deal with the ball. It's caused Hazard to obviously then have to do something with it, which didn't come off very well. But I find it harsh on Wiredu because I think he has been pretty consistent in that role when he's been in it. Gav, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because apart from Thursday, when we've lost a game of football, they've had one, maybe two chances, and we've never looked like we've been under much pressure. Hazard's barely had to make a save, and we've lost the football match. So you kind of go, well, your back three have done okay. There's been a brain fart somewhere. There's been a mistake, and balls in the back of the net. Everyone's going, oh, here we go again. I think Thursday was a bit different. I don't think there was enough commitment. There certainly seemed to be a lack of communication. Maybe that's because Mitchell had his head elsewhere. I don't know. And certainly in the first half, I think Matthias Ross is a born communicator, and having watched him in his first game against, I think it was QPR, because the ground was pretty much empty, sat in the grandstand, you could hear pretty much every word he said. So he seems to be a very good communicator back in the middle of the back four. Wiredu, but the problem is, it's like, is he a centre half? He has played there, but he's a holding midfielder for me. Is he going to put his foot in? I mean, just as an aside, like I saw Viner today play alongside Randall in the midfield for Bristol City. That's no different than us putting Wiredu alongside someone who can put the foot on the ball, win a tackle, move it forward. So I don't think this should be the Wiredu hate show. I know he's had some absolute brain farts and has really let the team down on occasion, but it would be a very different parallel universe if he scores the goal in the first half and we win 1-0. But it is what it is. He's had. I don't think he's made big mistakes, which has really stood out. But I don't think you can say he's had like mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake every game, and he's been awful. But he does the basics normally well. But mistakes he's made, like any defender, I suppose, has led to goals, and that's the big problem. For me, I think we've got a lineup coming up in a bit later on the show, but I think we need to go to back four, and I think we play all four of them, and we just say we start there. We do not concede. We do not take a backward step. At the moment, it's there's so much disparity between where we are, and we're playing against Mansfield on Tuesday. They're another 3-2-4-1 side, I think is what they play, or maybe 3-2-4-1 side. I think it's their formation off memory. So it's going to be another big battle in the midfield. We're going to have to be rigid, and we're going to have to move the ball quickly to the thirds.
If we go back to a back four, Gav, surely our best back four at the moment, now all fit, would be Galloway at left back, Ross, Mitchell, and Such. You would drop Wiradoo completely, surely, from that back four.
So Galloway at left back, Ross and Mitchell in the and Wiradoo's not in there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So on the teams later, that's exactly the four that have been selected of the and you've got Pleggy to come back.
Yeah.
So yes, you're right. Because actually Such can play right back quite well. He's got the pace. Galloway can play left back. He has the pace. They're both right and left footed. It means you've got Such's natural ability to throw the ball long. Wiradoo does miss out on that basis. He can sit on the bench as centre half cover and midfield cover, actually, if we need it. Because you only got 7 on the bench now, not 9. But yeah, that for me is the best back four. And you just put the barriers up and you say, no, thou shall not pass.
I said that, Gavin, in our WhatsApp chat afterwards. I leave the tactics to you and Carl in the main, but for me, I was like, just put a solid back four in there. I think I'll come to some of the comments in a minute. There's been a flood that coming through, but someone was, I think it might have been Matty, saying something about cleverly noting that we've got to stop the clean sheet. So does that suggest, and he is going to make that change, and will it be a back four? Truth, Plim, saying, Mike, what games are you watching? Weirdo has been poor. I wouldn't say that overall after his start and the fact that where he came back from that and he is an adaptable player playing in not his usual position. I wouldn't say he's been that bad. When you consider our season hasn't been great overall in reality, but that's why we all have our own opinions, and so that's why we welcome your comments.
I think that everyone's opinion on Wiradoo is every time he's made a mistake, we've conceded a goal or we've conceded a penalty, which has led to a goal.
Or he's had a red card. Yeah.
Or he's had a red card. Yeah. So every time he's had a brain fart, it's hurt us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why everyone's on it. Oh, he's shit, da-da-da. Actually, if you watch him, if you just have a player cam, I'm lucky enough to sit on the halfway line on the grandstand. If you watch him, and I've done it for 4, 5, 6 minutes at a time at times, and nothing else, positionally he's quite good. He doesn't make many mistakes, but the mistakes he makes are absolute stinking howlers. And that's why it's easy when you're thinking about the game back. Oh, that was a mistake, led to a goal. He's shit.
Yeah. Well, Marcus has just picked. Why don't we try Weirdo in midfield and see what he can do there? I think we'll come. So we have, like I said earlier, Gavin's put a deck together, which we'll come on to in a minute because we want to get through some of the squad. So conscious we've been on for an hour or whatever it is now, not an hour, nearly an hour. So thank you as well, just to everybody that's joined us. Please retweet and share the live where you can. If you're watching, obviously on X on YouTube, you can't obviously do that, but make sure you do hit the subscribe button and press the bell thing so you know when we go live. But for those that don't know, it is every Thursday night at 8:30 for the live lounge where we preview the game coming, and then obviously Saturday nights at 8:32 for the post match. Now, watch alongs. Am I going to do that again on Tuesday night? I'll see where we're at with decorating.
You're a glutton for punishment.
It's a half term, but I enjoyed it. The fact that people wanted to watch that is good, and it's good for the channel. So I may well do that again, and hopefully it is more positive. Let me just read out a few more comments though that have come in. There's quite a few, so please bear with me. So what we got here? Stephen Cooper saying, sorry, Hallett would buy anyone Clevs wants. Most of the deals were were sorted before Clevs came in. That's why our recruitment guy, as he thinks, has gone. Clev's not happy with it. Marcus saying maybe Hazard doesn't want to be here. Interesting one. I know Mark also points out that and even in Mark, so what if Hazard is an international? Not many Irish goalkeepers. It's a fair point. Matty H, what do we think TC meant? This was the comment I was alluding to just now. What do we think TC meant by focus on clean sheets? Change of approach? Well, I think he has to accept that does need to happen. GT, good evening to you, GT. I have an opinion on the player mistakes. I think it's because TC is moving them all around week in, week out. No consistency. Yeah, fair enough. Matty H as well saying, we don't win our individual battles and do the basics right. That must come first before we try and play out. Marcus saying, we'll be better defensively when Mackenzie plays, but he hasn't played for a long time.
Well, he hasn't played.
Yeah, but I don't know how long
he hasn't played a single minute for us.
Yeah, but before that even as well, Gav. So it's a difficult one because I think he is a good player, but we've not seen anything of him. And throwing him into the mix in a situation like this is probably a difficult one, being honest and respectful to the guy. Graham Burns saying Weirdo plays with a superstitious sock on his arm. He needs to take it off now. I think that's a brilliant point. So if he does start next, Weirdo, please take the sock off. Sorry?
Did you say sock off there?
He should have left it under his bed.
Lowering the tone.
He's got a lump hammer to get it under his bed.
Right, moving on. Andy B says we will also be better defensively when Mackenzie's back. So he's agreeing with Marcus's point, driving down the left and linking with our wide players, drilling the ball across. Well, that's what I wanted Benarouz to do on Saturday night. Everybody's trying to get that vision out of their head now. Stephen Cooper, watch Clev's January. He's not silly, and Hallett will back him 100%, 1,000% even. Well, there we go. Let's see. So what we got for a 4-1-4-1 formation? I don't think that's in your lineups, Gavin, but we'll go to those later on. Dean, a couple more before we then move on. Jack Smith, read out a new one. Evening, Jack. Personally, think we need to stop this dilly-dally passing from Mitch, Ross and Waidu. Creates nothing and is painfully boring to watch. Well, coming on to that sort of midfield, yes, it is. Moving on to the midfield now, that should be creating more. Where we had Ibrahim and Boateng, we've touched upon them a bit. Edwards and Soranola. Gavin, you said Edwards did look a little bit off the pace. He wasn't able to get into the game, was he? And wasn't able to sort of really start commanding the players in that game either. So it was no surprise that he came off. Boateng, as well, we said was pretty much just seemed to be cemented to a spot and didn't seem to move around too much. Ibrahim did a lot of running around, but was also frustrated. So they clearly had marked him out as a man to slow us down. And Soranola, it was an average game. He did put in, Gav, some decent crosses in at in the first half. Yeah. So the set pieces were good, and they troubled Exeter. I think height-wise, we were fairly similar. So unlike Wimbledon, where they clearly had that advantage and physicality, so it shows that we can, get our set pieces right. But yeah, it's all about creativeness in the midfield, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think we've touched upon that enough. Patterson. So, Gavin, Patterson's one that, sticking with you, that you and I and others have said, he's a good passer of the ball. It's good when he gets a run in the squad because we think he will do well. He didn't have much of a game either, did he? But equally not getting the ball, I suppose.
No one. No, I think he got the ball to his feet 2-3 times. Ironically, I think the best player to make an impact on the game, although it was small, was probably Dale. Dale, I thought when he came on was brilliant. He tried hard. He went down the wing. He had a good shot off his left, off his right foot to the left-hand post. In the team that I got absolutely walloped for on X, because I usually do, and care of shit. I've got rhino skin. Where I had Patterson and Dale as my 2 10s. I think in hindsight that probably was a decent pick, to be honest, because they both normally don't give the ball away. They're both experienced enough to do the right thing at the right time. If we got the ball into their feet a bit more, we might have been a bit better. And having Peppel and thing up top and one in front, it just didn't work, did it? Let's be candid, it just didn't work.
Just picking up on Jack Smith's comment, I thought he was really good when he came on. See
He
that
was,
one?
yeah. For me, like, what I don't understand is like TC in the ground. Oh, we don't see him as an advanced 8 or a 10. Why not? We see him as a winger. Yeah. Well, he gets the ball and he can beat a man, and he can also pick out a pass, as can Patterson. I don't see what the change is on either of those individuals, to be honest. But Benarous would probably do the same. Finn would probably do the same. So, there's 4 players there that could play in that 10 that haven't had a sniff.
Yeah. Carl, number 2. Sort of seeing a few of the comments, with thoughts on, obviously, Jack Smith there on was saying about Dale was the only player that impressed him on Thursday. So one player who wanted to make an impact. I felt, in fairness, and I've been critical of him recently, Barley tried to do that as well. But when you're then playing against a squad that is literally wanting to get swallowed up by the ground, it makes it hard. But yeah, Dale impressed me. He's been left out a lot recently. Benarous as well. I don't know what's going on there to not even make the squad, really, considering what Benarous can create. But Carl, what's your thoughts on Dale and say Benarous?
Well, when they signed him, I thought they're just trying to cover up because of his appearances in the League One, whatever. I thought they're just trying to make us think, we have signed someone with experience. And the same with McCabe. We're supposed to sign a central midfielder with lots of experience, not I can't remember his age, 18, 19-year-old.
19.
Who's made one appearance in the first team. That just doesn't make sense to me. But also with sorry, mind gone blank. Who were we saying about
It
again?
was Benarous or Dale. Yeah.
Oh, Dale. Yeah, Dale. I haven't seen much of him. When he made his debut, it was a positive. But I haven't seen enough of him yet. But again,
no one has.
No. But Mumba, there's something going on there, because to leave him out of a derby when he scored that goal at Home Park, that rocket, it just makes me think something's going on there.
Well, we've debated Mumba a lot, and a few of us were like, he needs to be dropped. And Gavin, who's been supportive of him, did actually drop him from his lineup. I think whether it was right or wrong, the fact that I think whoever you had in that squad Thursday night, just something was not right, and wouldn't have made much of a difference. Because you need, as someone pointed out in the comments earlier, everybody's got to do their bit, in that team, and no one did. That's why I don't. Ending on the strikers, I don't blame, Peppel. He went down too easy with challenges on Sweeney trying to win the free kicks, and then realised he wasn't going to win them. And then he got into it a bit more, and he was using his because he's a big dude, man. So use that as your advantage. And he did start making a bit more of an impact, but Talai, bless him. And we've seen Talai do this. When the team's not giving him anything, he comes back and tries to create something himself, as Gavin and I think it was Carl alluded to earlier. So, it's that guy can fucking find the back of the net. Sophie's gone to bed now, but
I think that's striking in general, though, isn't it? Because Hardy used to do the same in poor games. He'd drop back to try and get the ball for himself. Harry Kane does it for England a lot. He drops back a lot and gets the ball. So I think that's just a good striker trying to
wanting touches.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm just glad he can't go anywhere else in January because he's played for 2 clubs.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Oh, what, he actually can? That's a rule, is it?
Well, he can, but he can't play. So you can sign him,
right.
but he has to sit and train for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Wow.
And unless Muslich signs in for Schalke, that could be interesting.
Oh, don't
even go there. Speaking of which,
I guess he can play abroad, surely.
I don't know. I don't think you can play for more than 2 clubs in one season.
Even outside of the EFL?
Don't think so. Someone out there who's watching this is going to know that.
Yeah, that's good. But I think if he carries on doing what he's doing, then the summer could be interesting, especially depending on where we are. So speaking of ex-players under Miron, obviously Maxi Talavirov got his first 90 minutes for Stoke today. I didn't watch. Caught the last sort of 10 minutes, but it looked like he had a good game. So how on earth that player's been benched for that long?
He was injured, that's why, and he couldn't get
Was
back
he injured?
in.
Was he?
He was injured early season. He couldn't get back in.
But he was on the bench. He's been on the bench for weeks.
Been on the bench. Both of them, Phillips
captain.
and Maxi, have been on the bench for weeks trying to get there, and they've been winning. So why would you change a winning team? Now they're back in, and they both did well today, and they'll both stay there now, probably for quite some time.
Yeah.
Have you noticed Ryan Hardy's on the bench constantly for Wrexham?
Or not even on the bench, Carl. He's
on the bench.
The last 2 games he's been on the bench. I don't know if he was used today. He wasn't last game.
No, he wasn't.
The previous 4 games, he wasn't even on the bench.
Yeah,
back in January.
He's he's got his sort of retirement fund topping up nicely at Wrexham, so I don't blame him for that deal. But he's not getting many games, is he? In fairness to him, but it is what it is. So I'm conscious then of just sort of moving on now. We've discussed a few on players, some good comments, people throwing formations around and all that stuff, which is good. Keep showing them in the chat. So as in typical Block 9 style, we do have a little bit. Let me bring the comments back in. Sorry. We do have Gavin's put together something. He was very quiet. I know Gavin's away on holiday after tomorrow, and he's been flat out trying to get a load of work done before he goes off. But he was very non-existent in the chat after the game, and then he sent me a message this morning going, right, I've been going through some stuff and I've pulled a deck together. So this is what sort of happens. We're both very similar in that we get an idea and a thought in our head and we go away and work on it. But so Gavin, explain what this is about. There's a few slides here we might skip through.
We'll skip through a handful. Unfortunately, one of my daughters woke me up at 4:30 a.m. this morning. So knocking out pancakes before 6 o'clock. I had plenty of time on my hands till I handed over to the wife at about 8 o'clock. I just sat on the phone and thought, I can't. So anyway, I got my iPad, and while the kids were playing with their Barbies, I just sat at the table and thought, right, I've got to do something proactive here, because I had been busy, and also I wasn't really in the mood for the proverbial bedwetting, because I just can't abide that shit, so I didn't get involved in it. Not with the group, but just generally on X. And I thought, I wonder what's made people successful. And I was trying to think back to the Shuey area, but then I thought, well, what about other teams? Because there's been loads of teams go up in the last few years. So I started to look online and see who'd gone up, what formation they played in, how they played, what their style of play was, and are we doing something similar, or are we wildly different? That was where this was born from. So I went back to the pre-COVID season, or the COVID season, to today, and just went, who's gone up, how have they played, what formations have they played, and how does that relate to what we're doing today, and are we wildly off the mark? That's where it came from. Yeah. So that's that. You can flick on the next slide for one.
Yep.
So that, and you can flick on again, because that's pretty much just explained what I've done.
Yep.
So who went up and how did they do it, basically, right? So there's kind of 3 camps here. There's a back 3 dominance. So Coventry, Peterborough, us in our championship winning season have played 3-4-2-1, 3-5-2 broadly. Yeah. All about getting wing backs down the line, overlaps, underlaps, crosses in the box, through balls over the shoulder, and moving the ball quickly down the thirds and getting the ball into attacking positions quickly. There's been other teams, Wigan, Sunderland, Ipswich, that have been 4-2-3-1, which is kind of where I think Shuey was early doors. So double pivot, think Randall, think Houghton, protecting a back 4, but you've got the 2 fullbacks push on hard and support 2 number 10s or 2 wide number 10s if you think Azaz and Whitaker, just to make reference to us back in the days. The rose tinted spectacles are coming right out now, and then 1 top striker who can basically be the fox in the box and put the ball away. And then the last one is a really high press 4-3-3. So Hull, Wickham, Birmingham City have all played 4-3-3, tried to win as many balls in back in the opposition territory as possible with a really high press and a good solid back four, and have tried to basically punish people by let them make mistakes in the final third, nick the ball back, and then Stansfield, etc., putting the ball away. So that's pretty much how people have done it in a nutshell. And it probably took me 2 hours to research that and get some idea of what people are doing. But again, I've had a very long morning, and I was just pissed off basically with the world. So
I would have just played with your Barbies, to be honest.
To be honest, we have got a few Kens now, but when Barbie beats Ken at football, you know, you've got to give up the ghost. So I decided to play on the iPad. Core tactics, right? Pressing when not in possession, really effectively and really aggressively. And here's a thing I found out this morning. So there's a KPI out there called PPDA, right? Those who need their glasses on, it's passes per defensive action. So at the moment, you know, we're about probably 25. The stat further down, we'll go into it in a minute, is basically saying 9 defensive passes maximum before you get the ball into an attacking area to make a shot on goal or to have an attacking action, right? Between midfield and back 3, back 4. That for me was quite an interesting stat. Yeah. Best teams are around about 7.5, but the average is about 9, right? If you can get 7.5 passes before you're making an attacking action, then you've basically paid through the third, which is what TC's tried to do. And when we've done it well, Burton, etc., we've looked very, very good. So here's a bit more of a sort of attacking masterclass. So using the wings to attack, underlaps, overlaps, pushing the fullbacks on, driving at fullbacks with if you're going to go 4-2-3-1 with an inside 10 or a right and left 10 and then a wing back or a fullback underlapping, let them go on or going round them and then putting the crosses in the box, but trying to get chalk on your boots and get to the byline and get crosses in as quickly as possible. So doing that and then having a strong defence even when attacking. And this for me made me wryly smile this morning. I will also use a couple of words that my kids probably don't need to repeat, because when you look at these sides, they've always left 4 players behind the ball, even when they're attacking. Well, I can think of 3 goals in the last 2 weeks where there's been a Mumba and a Sarinola or a Patterson or a flapping around like a windbreak, trying to get rid of the ball because there's been no centre half coming back, and by the time they've got there, we've conceded, right? So that's the thing for me, the 3 learnings, if you like, that I just thought, well, okay, so we press hard, we try and have as few passes per defensive action, PPDA, as possible. We use the wings to attack and try and get crosses in the box, and even when we're forward and we're attacking, we leave 4 players behind the ball. Now, that sometimes might be 2 defensive midfielders and 2 centre-halves, okay? Or it might be 3 centre-halves and 1 defensive midfielder, but you're always leaving 4 people. If the shit happens on transition, you can snuff it out. We're not doing that, I don't think. Maybe people can correct me if I'm wrong watching in the stalls. Next slide, please.
Yep, that's fine. You're going to make sure you bring us this passes per defensive action after every Argyle game now for the show.
I'm going to, well, there will be a stat somewhere and I'll pick it out. If not, I'll just email the club and take another PPDA.
See that? I don't know if that one's on football. We'll have to have a look.
I don't know. We'll have a look at that. So big denominators, so key principles, right? A clear path to scoring. So how are we trying to get the ball in the back of the net, basically? Yeah. At the moment, I'd say the last 3 games, we've kind of lost that as a club, right? Can anyone tell me the clear path, apart from hoofing it, going back and forth, and then going, go on, let's hoof it up front, and hopefully we win the second ball with our attacking midfielders? We don't really have a path, which is pretty poor. Making the most of set pieces. We started to do that, didn't we? I think we scored balls off corners. We were scoring off free kicks. I think we've had a bit unlucky, but we haven't had enough key sort of proper clear-cut chances on goal through set pieces. I think some of that's through delivery, some of that's through lack of aggression to get to the ball, if I'll be honest. And I think defenders are a bit more aggressive at getting there than we are. And then the last thing is consistent strategy, don't keep changing. And unfortunately, we do keep changing. And I know you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, your head coach on this. oh, you're a right stubborn bastard, you're not going to change, we'll keep losing, la, 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 la. Or you've had 3 formations in one game. How can anyone even start to understand their job role if you're changing 3 times in one afternoon or one evening? So that's what I got out of this. Flick on again.
Yep. Hang on, there we
go. So from that, what's working under Tom? Well, we got plenty of ball. We're just not doing much with it. So we got dominant possession, yes. We've got a little bit of territorial control, yes. Other than that, it isn't working. So we're not playing through the third. So I'm talking the last 3 games here mainly, which is why I think everyone's got their knickers in a twist. We're not playing through the thirds effectively. Our midfielders aren't looking to receive the ball half turn. They're not looking to get into space. They're kind of doing what I blamed Houghton for back end of last season when he was playing alongside JB. He's marking themselves out of the game. When we've got the ball, they're standing next to the opposition, saying, well, I'm marked, I can't be passed to, which for me, lack of confidence, lack of bravery. Sounds like Jordan's doing much better at Stevenage, but there we are. Individual attacking talent. So we've got Talai, great. He's doing, when he gets a clear-cut chance, he's putting it away. So notably, last home game, Ibrahim slides him through. I tapped my brother on the shoulder as the ball went through and said 1-0.
And it was a very confident finish as well, wasn't it?
Oh, well, you could just see, as soon as the ball got slid through, I just went 1-0. And 5 seconds later, it's in the back of the net. The guy's just oozing. If he gets an opportunity, he puts it away. Other than that, we've got very little there. So tactical flexibility, as I've just said, we've gone 4-2-3-1. We've got a back 3 with various structures, 3-5-2, 3-4-2-1. And it's been up and down like a horse draws, but so is our form. So it really tells you where we are and what we're doing. Yeah? Flick on.
Think.
Thank you. So, what's hindering the performance? Shape, volatility, eroding, basically, optimism. But basically, are we practicing the same thing over and over again? If you look at lots and lots of really good teams, let's think our year under Shuey, let's think the Ipswich team that went up from the Championship to Prem, you could pretty much put your bottom dollar on the fact that they're going to have the same formation. The personnel might change various bits because of rotation or injury, but they'll play the same way every week and they're bloody good at it. Think back to Man United when they were dominating 4-4-2, they were unstoppable. Yeah. And they had a very good team, and it was like, they know what we're going to do, but you're never going to stop them doing it. We've been too flexible. Yeah. So you can't get into a rhythm of playing. So I think it's a bit ironic because I remember being on this pod and seeing lots and lots of people saying, oh, bloody hell, he's not flexible enough. We're playing this back four, it don't work. Now we've been probably the other way and gone too flexible. Maybe it's because we've got a young coach and he's still trying to learn his trade. Soft rest, so in transition. So basically what that means is we're vulnerable to transition, what I said earlier. We're not keeping as many people beyond the ball as we should do. Peterborough have just sacked Darren Ferguson.
Yeah, Steve did say that earlier at the start of the show, but yeah.
That's my sweepstake answered. It wasn't TC. And then the other thing here that's really not helping us is this U-shaped circulation with limited penetration. Back to the back four, back to the centre half, back to the left back four, back to around and round and round we go. Hump it long, lose it. That's what that means, right? Yeah. Over reliance on a single a penalty box threat to lie. We've had nothing else. Seni's been okay, but he hasn't had. I don't think he's had enough running the side. We haven't played to his strengths. Peppel is huffed and puffed, but he hasn't blown any houses down apart from a tap in at Burton, right? And a goal in the cup. And then no visible set piece edge. I think we have had it at times. It's probably a little bit harsh, but we haven't had it enough, right? So you can move on to the next slide.
I see Dave's just joined us as well with his banter.
Dave, yeah. We'll get Klopp or Pep in, yeah, don't worry, or maybe Jose, the special one. So action plan, this basically, in a nutshell, just says pick a formation, pick a team, give it 6 to 8 games. Because you can't keep pressing the panic button going, oh, we did 3-5-2, it didn't work. Right, okay, let's now go 4-2-3-1. Oh, that didn't work. Right, let's go 3-4-2-1. Oh, that didn't work. Because the players don't know whether they're coming or going. I think Foxy needs to sit down with TC and the manager, the coaching team, and say, right, what's our best team? Who's going to play in those positions? Get them in, get them training, and say, right, we're going to be stubborn for a few weeks. 6 to 8 games. We got 5 away, so that works. Then it just keep it going and absolutely nail one system. Then you can basically say I've given it my best chance, rather than like a crisp packet in the wind. We'll do this, then we'll do that, and blah 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 blah. So that's what that basically means. You can flick on the next slide.
Yeah, just picking up on the Carl's comment in the comments. Might be slot at this rate, Dave. Liverpool are losing 3-1 to Brentford.
Wow.
And
Well. Funnier things about. I'd have slot.
You're slotting quite well, Danny.
Oh, God.
Immediate tweaks. So defending wide areas, attack directly, which means go through the 3 touches through, like we did at Burton, basically. Yeah, through the thirds, playing behind.
Goal against Wimbledon was that, wasn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely was. And the goals against Burton and the Stockport goals, we go through the thirds. McCabe was probably at the heart of all that, because he passes the ball forward most of the time. If you look at his stats, most of his passes are forward. Very rarely do they go backwards. Sometimes they go sideways, but he's looking to move the ball forward quickly. Yes, he's 19. Yes, he hasn't got much experience, but he's the only person with a pair of bollocks who's going to move the ball forward and take the risk and get us going up the pitch. Yeah. And if you've got Ibrahim and Boateng with him in that side, which is when we've been best, Ibrahim in that forward stretch, he's put 2 assists in, I think, off memory for Talay already. And Ibrahim's the ball, breaks up the play, wins it back and gives it back to McCabe. That's kind of the simplicity. So that attack directly, support to Talay. I don't believe it's a 2 up front. I don't think Aseni and I don't think Peppel are good enough yet. If you're going to do that, you might as well play Patterson up there or Dale up there, alongside him as a bit of a false 10 and someone who can take the ball on and move it. But, we'll see what happens there. Improve the set piece and then be smart when winning. Don't start committing people beyond the ball and having 2 at the back, which is a wing back and a winger trying to defend when we've got 3 FD great lumps of granite up in their box for throw-ins. Doesn't make sense, right? Just have a bit of nous about you. So this is the KPIs I was talking about. So the pass per defensive action is 9 is the average, below 7.5 is, and I'm going to start counting these now from the grandstand and on TV with a notebook. It is ideal. High press, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? But everyone said that. Miron did it really well, actually. He's probably the best manager I think we've had in recent times that produces that high press and really works hard on it. And if you win the ball back in those high areas, you get as many people in the box as you can, as quickly as they can, and you get the ball into the danger area and hopefully one of them sticks their foot on it. Job done. Looking at wide entries as a percentage, so 33% of your attacking options should come through wide entries, which is basically posh words for saying get the ball down the sidelines, get your wing backs with chalk on their boots and get it down to the byline and cross in, as we did 2-3 times in recent times, and against Spurs, against Burton, against Stockport, and we've scored goals in those areas and worked well. Cutbacks, again, same thing, come back from the area, we've done that well. Opposition transition, so we're losing the ball in key areas. We need those 4 players back, probably 2 centre-halves, 2 holding midfielders, or 1 holding midfielder and a wing back to actually rescue the ship and not have us picking the ball out of the back of our net 20 seconds later, having lose the ball in their area. And then set piece, so moving forward and having a good set piece that's going to have an XG of, I think it was like 0.4, 0.5% per game, which I think we're nowhere near that at the minute, which means we've probably got 1 good chance or 1 good half chance a game. We're not having that at the moment, although you could say at Exeter we probably did and we scored from it, but the poor officiating once again made us not have that. Next slide.
Dink.
So you can flick that one because it's about training and patterns of play, but I've kind of mentioned it. You can flick that one as well because that's about
so into your
select. So all I've done now is I've taken, right, how were these teams from 2019, 2020 to last season successful? What formations did they play? And I've tried to play Gav's selection bingo and put some selection out of teams that are that can fit the selection policy, right? So this is 3-5-2. We've played variations of it recently. It hasn't worked, but this is a formation that obviously has worked for those other sides. I I've got Mitchell on the left. That's going to put some shudders down some people. Ross and Such. A midfield of Mumba on the left. And then basically it's a mix and matches midfield. It's 5 good bods. I think you have to get McCabe, Ibrahim, and Boateng in that 11. And I've put Benarous in the middle as a sort of 10, but you could probably flick those around and move Ibrahim up top. Bearing in mind this was about 5 o'clock this morning I was doing this, boys. The eyes weren't.
Is that why you put Boateng on the right hand side if you did it? At 5 o'clock?
Yeah. So you'd probably have Ibrahim on the right, and Boateng in the middle. But you can see the point. And then 2 up top. I've gone Patterson and Talai because you'd have a false 10. I think Patterson would provide that up and down the right and get crosses in anyway. But I don't see the point in having a lump up front anymore if we're not going to have midfielders running beyond. Next.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Dink.
So 3-4-2-1. Again, I've kept Mitchell on the left for all the haters out there. I think when his head's in it, he'll be okay. But you could play Galloway. There's no drama there. Ross in the middle, Such on the right. So can we put on the Halloween music? Very good, Andy. Love that. Come and sit in my house at 5:30 in the morning. You can help me do these. And then we can do a soundtrack to go with it, which might well be na 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 na. But there we are. So this is
a few here actually.
What's that?
I've got a few sounds. Carry on.
No. You could crack on, mate. Get them in. It will stop everyone from falling asleep. So this is 3-4-2-1. Again, let's not worry about personnel too much and worry more about shape. From those there, you got basically a midfield of Ibrahim, McCabe in the middle, Boateng on the right, Patterson, Mumba, Benarous, and you're just trying to get good players on the field and Talai up top on his own. You probably could go no Boateng there and put Ballymumba on that right hand side or someone of a bit more of attacking nature. So that's that one. Interesting that Wuridu's not on any of these sides so far, but there we are.
Neither's Ashby Hammond.
Neither's Ashby Hammond. Well, at the time this morning, I was kind of giving him one more go, I have to say. I think Hazard's a better keeper than he's played the last few games. I think
you're definitely wanting this Boateng on the right, though. That's for sure.
Seems to be a prominent feature.
Well, it's 4-3-3. So are you going to put McCabe on the right when he's got to put his foot on the ball? So earlier in the season when we played 4-3-3 or played 3 in midfield, they've kind of swapped and swipped around. But that's not a wing back position, is it? Isn't a 4-3-3 or in a 4-3-2-1? That's 3 midfielders winning the ball. Yeah. So Patterson provides your width, Ballymumba provides your width until I gets in the middle, and you've got Suits bombing up and Galloway bombing up on the outside of them. So while you're in possession, they squeeze in, and the wing back or the full backs move up to provide the width. When we're out of possession, you kind of spread out and try and win the ball back, basically. Yeah. Does that make sense? But it does then mean the back 4 is Galloway, Mitchell, Ross, Such, which I know that Carl has pinged something into our WhatsApp group, which is a 4-1-4.
Yeah, I'll get it up in a second.
And that is the back 4. Personally, I'd give that a go for 6 to 8 games. I'd play a back 4. I'd play that back 4. I'd have Wiridu on the bench as a cover for the back 4 and a holding midfielder, and I would move forward on that basis. I'd play 3 in midfield that are our best 3 midfielders, and then you can take a picker up the top of Dale, Mumba, Patterson, Senny, Finn, Peppel to accompany Laurent Talai.
Yep, and then last,
and then this one's Gav's random formation, which came to me first actually this morning, early doors, which is the random one. So again, I've gone a back 3. You could have Galloway on the left. I chose Mitchell, Ross in the middle, Such on the right. 2 holding midfielders of McCabe and Boateng, 1 to win the ball, 1 to move the ball up the pitch into the thirds. Ibrahim's at his best game playing in the middle of those 2, advanced and lying and pushing Talai passes in behind and off the shoulder, and he's done well there. Ballymumba on the right wing, Benarous on the left wing, and then Talai with Patterson up top and Patterson forming that number 10. For me, that might be the most random, but actually I like that the most. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
I would probably say that's your better one out of all of them.
it's got balance. But I've never ever seen a football team, even on Football Manager, not I've played that very much, have a 3-2-3-2. So maybe I've just invented, the new formation there. I don't know. Answer on a postcard. You'll probably say there's loads of teams that do it. I've never seen it, but that for me, with the squad we have at the minute, you could probably argue Mitchell out and Galloway and all that on that left hand side, or even Wiradoo. But I think Mitchell is probably one of our better defenders. You've got Benarouz and Ballymumba having to do some serious mileage on that formation because they have to get up and back and form a back five. And then out of possession, Bradley Ibrahim would slot into the middle, and then you'd have 3 defenders and then 2 up top. But I think that's a flexible enough formation to give us the fluidity to be attacking, but also quite rigid when we're without the ball.
Yeah.
That's it.
Appreciate that, Gavin. I didn't stop Gavin at any point in the slides to go to people purely because I'm conscious of our time. So I thought,
and everyone's giving me shit saying he's a numbnut. So
yeah, no, it's a good one. Look, we like to bring you things, and as equally I've done myself when I've done some of these decks, you make a few errors within them, but I think it's good to just share the thoughts. Look, one of the things that the situation like this does give you, especially when then there isn't a Saturday game, unless you're decorating like me and the wife, time to think and reflect and just say, well, what do we need to do? And that was the whole purpose, of the show, was to bring that, discuss how we're all feeling now, and then what we can do to bring it forward. And I think Barry Wood makes an evening, Barry, good for you to join us. Makes a good point. Derby games are unpredictable, but not to match the commitment and intensity of your main rivals is unacceptable, which is what we've absolutely stressed. But like Posh and Don's defeats, we were beaten by a competent but hardly impressive side. And that's the thing out of that comment that really does stand out. Other teams have not really dominated us, but when they've got a sniff at goal, they've taken it and they've scored. That's one of the biggest takeaways I've seen, at home this season, is when a team gets a chance, they're picking goals away. So effort and chances away, sorry. But yeah, I mean, Exeter weren't overly impressive, but they came out with a fight. They pressed us, and they managed to do what they needed to do and were resilient. I do want to add, before I bring Carl's line up and then get some thoughts from also Andy and Carl, number 2, is the difference in body language of Caldwell and Cleverly on the touchline. I was watching it on Sky during the watch along, but like Cleverly looked like he just wanted the ground to swallow him up, especially after that second goal went in. Caldwell was out there; he was halfway down the bloody touchline, and eventually the 4th official went and dragged him back at times. But you could just sort of see. I mean, when I turned it on, I turned it on as Sweeney was being interviewed, and he was like, right, when we win tonight, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, oh, that's an omen, isn't it? He's just so confident and in his interview.
He just didn't show any passion at all from the sidelines. He was just like an emotionless character, just standing there with his arms crossed, which I don't know whether his red card at Luton maybe has toned him down a little bit. I mean, he's never been an animated manager, but he still was out, barking orders and walking up and down. But since his red card, he's really just toned it all down. There's nothing there from him.
I think, to be fair as well, Exeter have been bigging it up all week, haven't they? They've been looking forward to this fixture. Their fans have been putting stuff on social media, bigging it up, and getting ready for it. And what have we been doing? Oh, just let's go and train.
I'm just sorting out Carl's lineup here, so bear with me.
Which I like, by the way, Carl. I like that.
No, I don't want that. You don't want to just see me. I was trying to get to the settings.
Sorry, gentlemen, I've got to go.
But yeah, no worries.
Carl, good to see you, mate.
Thank you for having me on.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers for joining, Carl.
Mate.
Cheers.
Coming in.
Bye, mate.
Okay, mate.
I can't change because of the amount of space I've got on this screen here to get to the setting I need. So, Carl, go on, fire away with your lineup on the screen.
Well, as we've been discussing about the goalkeeper situation, I think obviously bar Tuesday, I'll still go for Hazard for Tuesday, but I think in the long run, if things persist, I would bring Luca back in. Definitely go back to a back 4, play your best 4 centre backs available. Instead of dropping Wiradoo, I would play him in probably his most natural position, which would be a CDM, and then having Ibrahim and Boateng in the middle. Bringing Benarouz back in. He needs game time. He's our most creative player. He deserves another shot. Finn, for me, again, on the other side, I don't know why he wasn't in the squad for the Exeter game. I really don't. And he's shown a lot of promise this season, and I think he needs to be starting games, and obviously Tolle up front without question.
I like the fact that you've slipped Wiredu in there. Wiredu. Sorry, I keep getting it wrong all the time. I'm not. Yeah, don't mind that at all. I think with Finn as well, with being that young lad that sort of does have all the confidence in the world, just wants to go out there. I mean, going back to Andy's point where he did those 2 nutmegs, and I did pull him up on on the show on that one because his passes after doing those nutmegs, and there was another chance to go into no man's land. But I just love seeing that skill, and that quality, and I think for me, I'd like to see him sort of come back in. Belarus, 100%. Because I think he's just got that ability to put a great ball in to lie, and then get Boateng and even Ibrahim supporting that.
I just think when you've got a generational talent like Finn, who's not scared, he shoots on sight, and that's what we've been lacking. You need players with attacking ability, and someone of him that's just pure fearless. He needs to start.
I would say, if it was me, I would go Dale on the right and bring Finn on after 60 minutes religiously, and give him that 30 minutes to get the goal. I just think he's if you look at Such is going to be very vulnerable there to if they play a 5 at the back and their wing backs get the better of Finn, then Such is going to be pulled out, which will leave 3 at the back there. That's my only concern. If you're playing a narrow side, I think that works really well.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because you want to give one of your own a go, and we've been guilty of not using our own and going with lone players. We should be using our own talent. We keep barking on about infrastructure and brickfields, yet we're not using our youth.
I think
you can't have it both ways. We've been guilty of slacking with Saka's development. He's gone to Bristol Rovers, not played. Roberts is going to be the next one who's going to struggle because he's not getting game time, and they're not loading him out either. Otherwise,
he was on the bench.
Fall down that rabbit hole either.
I think Miron had the right idea last year where he said, we've got some really talented young players, but now is not the time to blood them in the middle of a relegation scrap. Well, we might be there again for a bit. I think if we're comfortably mid-table, I'd start Finn every week. I think just for the next few weeks, I think getting Dale and Patterson into that team if you look at the quality at the back and the experience, Galloway, if you played Hazard, you've got some experience there. But that team's quite light on experience. That's the only thing I would say, Carl. Because you've got a very young Finn, you've got a very young Belarus, he's only 20. Boateng's 21, 22, Ibrahim's 21. Galloway's experience, Mitchell's 24, 25, but he's got a lot of experience. Ross, again, 24, 25, got a lot of experience. Such has got enough experience at this level. So I think
it's like in a workplace, isn't it? You're not going to get experience without being given a go.
No, and this is the difficult conundrum, I think, as a football manager when you're up against it. It's, do you blood them? I think if those 2 in midfield were kind of Randall and Houghton with experience, you'd go, throw them in, because you've then got some more experience up the pitch who've been there, seen and done it. But Ibrahim's up and down, isn't he? Again, Boateng's been consistent, but he's a young hothead, Ibrahim. I just think you need a little bit more experience at the top of that field before you can start sort of pushing up and down and saying we're going to go again. And I think Patterson or Dale would do that, and then you bring him on after 60 minutes and say, "Go on, son, show me what you can do." And if he gets 4 or 5 games in the bounce area and you feel he can handle it, then you bring him into the side. But I think blooding him and starting him with a young team around him at the top end of that pitch, I think could be problematic.
Hence why we shouldn't have gone for someone like McCabe at the end of the window.
I think McCabe became an option and wasn't the ideal. No disrespect to McCabe, because I want to see what quality he does have, and I'm sure you'll show it. But I think that was almost like, we can't get the guy you wanted. We've got this as an option, and he's highly rated.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with it. On Andy, I'll bring you into Carl's lineup now. But on Finn, the reason why I agree and I would start him is because that sort of player, I think, in a squad where he has the chance to actually have a big impact from the get-go, which could positively impact the rest of the squad, is why I would start him. I think if he comes on, and I have no issues with Dale, and if I see Dale in the squad on Tuesday, I wouldn't be too disappointed. But I think for me, Finn could like ignite the side, with his quality that he's got, his capability to tuck in and have a shot at goal as well. And I think for me, if he comes on as a sub, if we're not doing well and we're a bit under the cosh, it's always a difficult one then for him to get into a game. So yeah, Andy, what are you thinking with that lineup? Would you make any changes? What sort of thoughts have you got?
Well, the only one I would make at the minute is Mitchell, but I don't know who to bring in for that. Mitch's head's gone, isn't it?
Assuming that situation still continues, yeah.
If that still continues, then we need to give him that sort of time to grieve or whatever he needs to do with the bereavement. We don't know who it was involved, but yeah, we just with regard to Finn. We need to have him in there. He's got that attacking flair. He can turn on the tricks like we did with the 2 nutmegs, and he can score goals. We know that.
But so. my fear on transition. I know we've talked about that, but like I think you probably need a double pivot, and then you go 4-3. You go 4-2-3-1, don't you? And this is where it's like when you're leaking goals. That's a very solid back four, no problem. But you could be overrunning midfield there quite quickly. If Boateng and Abraham have been asked to push forward and support Talai along with Finn and Benarouz,
that's what I put Burudu there.
You're leaving a big hole. Yeah, but do you need one pivot or two? The problem is this is like the puzzle with one piece missing. You're never going to complete it, no matter where you are and what you're doing. There's always going to be an opportunity and a gap, and that's I found this. This morning doing this, it was like, well, where do you go from here? Because you've got strength here, but then you've got weakness outside. You've got experience here, but you've got inexperience up there. We don't have a good enough squad to go that solid. It's 4-4-2. We're going to play this way, and it just shows because TC hasn't found his best 11 yet because he's still tinkering. Yeah,
I think I'm definitely. Let me just switch back to our group view. I'm definitely up for Ashby Hammond coming back in. Quite. I'm rubbish at lineups and tactics, so but I definitely want to just go back to a back four. I mean, someone in the comments said earlier, obviously we started the season with that. And it wasn't great, but we just didn't have the quality.
We didn't have Ross or Mitchell at the start of the season.
No, we didn't.
Exactly what I'm alluding to. So I think that does make a difference for sure. And I think we've got it. It's a difficult one for Claire. The biggest thing for me, I mean, as we sort of start to wrap up, folks, but the biggest thing for me is I just want to know that Cleverley's body language on Thursday night is not going to be reminiscent of things going forward because and I like what I alluded to earlier as when Gavin said about it. I like the fact that Edwards then was really angry and pissed off. I go back to my earlier point on I want Nance to also step in. You almost like get in a room and just have it out. So when things aren't going well, just get in a room and have it out. Everybody say their piece. Some people are not going to like what someone says, but I think sometimes some people have to hear it and you either choose to accept it and change or you don't. But I just think all of them will be definitely reflecting after that game. And you said it, Gav. I mean, Edwards might even take them all to one side as players specifically.
It should be high challenge, high support, right? So everyone can point fingers, but then it's like, how do we fix this?
Correct.
Let's get back to the training ground and let's make everybody improve. I think there'll be blood and thunder on Tuesday night. If there isn't, then there's some proper questions to be asked here of this squad.
We seem to play better with a high press, don't we? And we get results from that.
Well, every team that's played like that us against Andy, we've seen that it's disrupted.
We've shit our pants. Yeah. Because we've crumbled like a sandcastle at high tide. Every time we get pressed, it's like.
No, and speaking of which, when we've gone a goal down, I think the last time I did GPT it just before the show, so forgive me if it's not 100% accurate, but supposedly the last time we came back and won a game after conceding the first goal was Cardiff back in January. So it's a long time. since we've done that. So right, time for
QPR.
final thought. Well, yeah, in terms of league game, time for final thoughts. I don't think there's. Oh, Steve Vaughan, who's in the chat, is in our WhatsApp group as well. So he did put in earlier that under Rooney, we're pretty much in the same position, 22nd, because obviously we did drop after results today, and there's only sort of one win in it. I think it was what you were saying to us in the chat between him and Cleverley. That's interesting if you like your stats and stuff. And both have had injuries to deal with, haven't they, as well? So
Lucky this is an easier league to get out of, otherwise we would be in trouble.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So, Carl, final thoughts from yourself, mate, to close out tonight.
Are we going to mention Taunton at the end or now?
Oh, yeah, go on. Sorry. You've got to go for it now. I'll upload the image, but you can go for it now.
Just because obviously we're the sponsors and all that.
We are. Yep.
Be rude not to if it works.
Get our money's worth. Come on.
There we go.
Oh, look at that.
There you go. Our outing this morning was quite productive. It should have been a lot more than that. We should have scored a few more than that because Drake are one of the poorer teams in the league. But at the end of the day, we got a result. It wasn't about the performance as such. Clean sheet, and Philip got a goal himself, which was good. He played a bit further up on the left wing, so he grabbed himself a goal, which was good to see. Absolutely freezing as well. The wind was horrendous. If we kept it on the floor a bit more, I think we would have got a few more goals. But there was lots of long balls, and all the corners were blowing out. And yeah, it's quite high up on Bond Street, so the wind played a massive thing in today's game. So yeah, up to mid-table early on. So yeah, it's a good start to the season.
Paul's still with us as well in the chat there. Look,
there you go.
So yeah, it's definitely that temperature is definitely dropping.
It's getting cold.
So yeah, go on then. Thanks for giving me the nudge, Carl. I had the image there at least ready. Yeah, go on. Final thoughts and leading into the rest of the weekend, and then what we can look forward to. And it is, as Andy B's confirmed, for Stephen Cooper on Sky Sports Plus.
Cool. Maybe we should all meet up and watch that one together then, if we're all free. If it's on.
I'm not having you miserable gits around my house.
Please yourself. Then you can do a watch along and have all your fans watch it. That's fun.
Yeah,
I'm not in the country.
About his ego.
No, you're away.
It's all about the Mookie Bar kid. Anyway, on to Tuesday.
Always.
Well, I think we just, for starters, we want to see them fired up. We want to see a performance. We want to see a reaction. We want to see the team putting it right, as the club will surely put out on Tuesday for the 100th time in the last few seasons. But yeah, I think 3 points is a must, because when you look at the table and at the bottom, I think it's only going to take a few weeks and you're going to start to see a little gap appearing. And if you're down there, that mentality is going to be hard to try and swap around. So if we can pick up a result and get out of the bottom four, that's a start. Going into the next few away games and hopefully pick up some more points. But we need to see some consistency with who we're going to start with, persevere with that. And it'd be interesting to see what Tom means about a change of approach, whether that means going back to a back four, changing the goalkeeper. But we need to see a massive improvement from Thursday.
Yeah, thanks for that, Carl. Andy, your final thoughts then, please.
Yeah, what he said, really. No, that way. What he said. A bit more passion. Get at them. Just shit or bust. Just get at them. Play football on the ground, not in the air, because it doesn't work that way. Keep it on the ground, get through the thirds, and then Talaya put the ball in the net, hopefully.
Yeah, well, do we have the creative players to do that? Thanks for that, Andy. Gavin, then your thoughts?
McCabe has to come back in. Benarous has to start. We need people who can pass the ball in the thirds. We've got to go back four. I think the back four that Carl and I both mentioned are probably the best bet. Probably 4-2-3-1 would be my suggestion, and then you've got Dale or Patterson on the right, Benarous on the left. Then you've got three midfielders: McCabe, Ibrahim, and Boateng, and then Talai up top. I think you need to go up there with an attacking mindset. There's no point in sitting back and being a little timid. And we need to go at them and go at them hard. And that back four needs to just literally have the game of their lives and stop everything. So blocks, interceptions, headers away, and they're 4 very good defenders on their day. There's no doubt in that. And people need to just puff their chest out a little bit, I think, and just get back into a mindset of positivity, because we've been pretty poor the last 3 games, and that cycle's got to break. And hopefully they've had some honesty chats this week, and they amend, because there's been a lot of people spending a lot of money going around the country following this lot, like we have the last 2 or 3 years, and it's not gone well. So hopefully a improved team with some good quality players who can play up the thirds. And as I say, let's see if we can get Talai, get a couple of goals and move us on.
Yeah, Mansfield are up there, so it won't be
7th,
easy.
8th. They're 19 points, I think, off memory. So there's 6 in front of us.
Yeah.
So it's a really tight league, isn't it? 2 wins and you're back in it. So
yeah.
Well, we want to be up where Tamerton are, as Paul has pointed out, joint third in the league. I'm going to sort of close out on Matty H's comment, actually. Thinking ahead, he says, if the worst does have to happen, please don't leave it as long as we did to rid the club of Rooney. I think it's a difficult one, but the one thing that I do feel more confident of, and that is that Cleverley is absolutely fully focused on the football and doing what's right there, and whereas Rooney was not always focused, shall we say, because I don't want to receive any letters for being sued. But that we know what happened there. I think there is a bit of a difference here. We do, and I said at the start of my intro, demand that we see that improvement. Joe Edwards sounds like he's going to demand that from the players, whether he's on the pitch himself, or on the subs bench, trying to influence in some way. But yeah, look, hopefully, it's been nearly 2 hours with the 10-minute countdown. So look, appreciate everybody that's joined us tonight, those that have come in from the start, those that have come in later. We've given you sort of our feelings, our honest views. We're not, I know there's a lot of people out there that are, and this is not all prime. We don't all agree to say the same thing at all, but we are sticking with the status quo at the moment. But I will certainly be questioning things if I don't see something substantial on Tuesday, if I'm honest. So let's see what happens. Like I said, we'll work out. It is half term actually next week as well. I'm off only for 3 days of that. So maybe Carl, you cheeky bugger, and Andy, I'll see what the missus says. But the house is a bit upside down. So, but we could have like our little Argyle breakfast before pre-match show. But we'll see what we can do. But
you can always come here, Mike. That's not a problem.
Well, that's true. Yeah. That's, but the rig and setup, you see, it's just it's all done here. But yeah, other than that, folks, look, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to catch up because I have such an exciting life and see how the qualifying's gone in the F1. But we appreciate everybody that's joined us. Please make sure, like I said, even if you're not watching from YouTube, go on there if you've got an account and give us a subscribe, because it all helps as that grows. But yeah, we thank you for your time, and let's hope, fingers crossed, it does turn around on Tuesday. Forget about it now until then, because we don't want to be depressed all the time, do we? Take it easy, folks, and we'll see you next